Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. I am excited because today I get to share a project with you. I don't know whether it will be out on social media yet. I'm not organized enough to know all of that stuff at this point, but I do know that it was something I couldn't talk about for a long time. This is a project I was working on since last fall, and it's a packaging project as usual, and it is the largest I've done to date in terms of the number of illustrations, and it is for a brand called Seal the Seasons. And Seal the Seasons is a US company, and they are distributed nationwide, but I was super excited to get to work with them because they have a mission that really kind of aligns with some of my interests and some of the things that I care about. So environmental sustainability and small family farms, food system security and stability, local food, limiting food waste, all of that. Those are some things that kind of are baked into their company and their way of working. And what they do is they work with local farmers. So like in an area, like let's say where I am in the Mid-Atlantic in Pennsylvania, they'll work with farmers in this area, like in the surrounding few states, to take their produce and buy their produce and then freeze it and then distribute it. So if you buy peaches, for example, in like the Seal the Seasons peaches that are in the grocery store at Giant are from, I believe, New Jersey, so pretty close by, as opposed to like if you buy peaches on the West Coast, they would be from a West Coast farm. So anything that they distribute is like from that local little area. So they wanted to do something that was kind of like off of that, like that really highlighted that concept. And they work with dozens of different farmers, small farmers. So they wanted to find a way to to really bring that personal touch and that local touch to the packaging. So the concept was that we would have illustrations of the different kinds of farms. So like whatever illustration that would be on there would be that actual kind of farm. So if it was for blackberries, it would be a blackberry farm. If it was for peaches, it would be a peach farm. Broccoli would be broccoli farm, likewise. You get the idea. So we would have some landscape illustrations that I would do, and then we would have some portrait illustrations. So I'm going to start, I don't know when I'm going to start showing these. Maybe they will already be on the screen. I probably will hold some up here too as well, but I'm going to have some scans of them, and then also going to show some images of them on a different camera, since the exposure is kind of set for my face here and not for the illustrations. Anyway, I'm not sure yet if you will have seen them, but what am I even saying? Yes, portraits. In addition to the landscapes, we were going to do portraits, and to kind of try to keep things in line, we wanted to, rather than having like one farmer that was drawn on the peach, like basically rather than drawing 10 different peach farmers, we were going to have the farm and then put the portrait over the top of the farm. So it was it was still done with traditional media, but it's a little bit of digital assist at the end. But of the projects that I've worked on, this has been the one that's kind of like the most geared towards digital, because I had to, for the farms, actually here, I'll show you an example. Okay, yeah. So for the farms, I had to do stuff in layers. So this is wild blueberries, and let me show you guys over here. So you can see that like there's the main portion of the illustration, and then there's these little bits that would be able to be cut out and kind of put over the top of the portrait of the farmer to make it look like they're really set within that landscape. And I have a bunch of the illustrations for this project, but this isn't even all of them. I think some of them I already put in my portfolios, and I don't want to pull them out, so I'm just going to show you a few more now. These are some of the more recent ones. These are corn and sweet peas. So bottom there is sweet peas, and then up at the top it's corn. What else do I have for landscapes? And I think I think this was cherries. I added the cherries digitally because I wasn't sure how red they would want them. So this is the cherries. And then these are a bunch of portraits. And I think there were like 10 or 11 of the landscapes all together. And then here's some of the portraits. And the way this worked is I would make these assets, I'd make the images and then send them to the designer, and the designer would put together the landscape and then put the figure on top. And sometimes this is another reason why we wanted to do them separately, you know, in addition to just the budgetary one, being able to have flexibility for like where the figure would end up within the landscape. All right, and at this point you can see this one this is the figure and the face. And this was a really unique challenge of this project, was that I had some where I did a full figure, but then we would use that full figure as the base. Here, these are a bunch of full figures that I'm showing right now. And I'd use that full figure as the base to add in another portrait. So basically one figure would get used for a few different individuals, and we would kind of match like the body type and the pose and all of that. And then I'd make any digital changes that needed to be made. This is one of my favorites of the figures. And then the portrait would get added on top. So here's a few more portraits. Sorry, figures. And then here's a few that were just faces. Another figure again. This is another one I really liked doing. And then I also did some where towards the end, I started combining, because I was like, what is anybody going to do with the single image of just a head? So I started combining several of the portraits on a single piece of paper. Some of the times I even did a lot of them on one. Sometimes it would get hard to remember which one was which, so I'd have to write the names of the farmers. Yeah, so, and these are not even all of them. There were other ones. So many portraits, you guys. And this was after, I think in 2019 and 2020, my goal was to do more portraits. And so I definitely did more portraits. And yeah, so you can see just with the scope, just with what I've showed you, how big the scope was. And then I'm hopefully going to have some images of the actual packaging. It's still relatively new, so I haven't been able to take like a bunch of really great pictures myself, but I'll see what I can grab from their social media. And maybe if I really have my act together, I'll ask you guys to like film some little clips or something that we could insert. But yeah, so that was kind of the essence of the project. And I would make these portraits and these landscapes and then give them to the designer, and the designer would combine them and do them on the package. And that was a new way of working for me, because I have certainly made things in different layers and combined them. That I just did that actually working for another client last year for the Good Culture project. I made the different components and then combine them and then finish them off. But on those ones, I got to have like the final say, basically. Like once the image was combined, I kind of went over it digitally to make it look like really, really cohesive. But for this one, I just handed over the individual components and then the designer put them together. But I felt really comfortable doing that because I got to work with the amazing art director and designer duo team who I have worked with on, I'm now actually in the midst of working on my third project with them. And this one, I couldn't have done it, I feel like, with anybody else, because I just trusted and knew that they would put them together really well and that the final image would look beautiful. So I'm hopefully also going to have some final images of some of these things put together and how they look when they were all pulled together. But yeah, the scope was enormous, and it felt really overwhelming at the time, trying to think just in terms of the number of illustrations of how I was going to turn that out. But a really positive thing about this, in addition to like having the working experience being really good, getting to work with a really cool company that I actually like align with, which isn't always the case. And then getting to work with one of my favorite art directors. Those are all really positive things. And then another really positive thing was that I feel like my confidence was boosted after this, and that's not always the case with assignments. So I felt relatively confident for a while in my in my technical skills in terms of like the actual drawing that I'm going to produce. I hope that doesn't sound snobby. I don't mean it that way. I just mean like I don't live in constant fear of making a bad drawing anymore like I used to. But I do live in constant fear of like, oh, what if I can't stay organized enough? Or what if I am not on top of this? And I think because of that, I'm like hyper organized because I don't feel very naturally organized myself. I don't know if I'm making a video about that. I don't know whether it will have already been out or still coming out. But anyway, this project was like a really good testing ground because I've done other like multi-phase projects where it was several weeks, but those were usually in the realm of like 15 or 20 illustrations, which is still a lot. And this, I have to count. I think it was like 65 or something total. It was a lot of illustration. So being able to see like, okay, like I felt challenged by this, but I actually did do it. Like, and I stayed organized and I stayed on top of it. Like that was really cool. So, yeah, I guess that's mostly it. I just wanted to share this project with you guys and show you some of the behind the scenes. Hopefully we'll have more clips inserted in here so it's not just my face talking. But yeah, let me know if you have any questions or ideas for future videos. As usual, how long was this even? I don't know. This is a short video for me. Pretty nice. Been a lot of long videos lately. Yes, and if you're in the grocery store and you are interested in, care about local food like I do, then check out Seal the Seasons. They're in the freezer aisle. At least near me, there's like mostly just the fruit right now. I don't know if there's going to be vegetables later. But yeah, they are throughout the whole country. So take a look. And if you look on their website, which I'll have in the description, you can see which stores they're carried in and what they have. Yeah. So thank you very much, Seal the Seasons, for working with me. And thank you, Trina, the amazing art director from Make It Matter. Yeah, it was a great team and a great project, and excited to be able to share it with you guys. So thank you to Meg for editing this video. Thank you to you guys for watching, and to my patrons for supporting. Like I said, let me know if you have ideas for other videos or comments, all of that in the comment section. And I will see you guys in the next video. Bye.